This Sunday's Gospel is from the 13th chapter of St. Luke, and the story contained there only appears in Luke's Gospel. It's about a group of Galileans who were massacred by the Roman authorities, and another group of people who were killed when the tower in Siloam collapsed on top of them. And the people who saw this were really questioning Jesus. They came from a clear understanding of what had happened. These people had been killed because they were sinners. They had done bad things. This was the viewpoint which was around in those days. Bad things happen to bad people. God punishes those who do wrong and punishes them immediately. Our Lord offers a completely different way of looking at these incidents. He gives a new vision, invites people to leave their ideology behind, to change the parameters of their thinking and to change their mind. A change of mind which would lead to a change of living. What our Lord points to as he looks upon these two incidents and considers them is just how precarious and fragile life is. The precariousness and fragility of life. We don't know what's round the corner. And from that contemplation of life's precariousness and fragility, the Lord invites the people to look to themselves. Not simply to walk by and say, well, they got what they deserved, but rather to reflect on where they were at in their own lives. Because it's so easy to dismiss people. It's so easy to say, well, what else would you expect? The Lord is constantly inviting us to move from that type of reaction to consider where we're at as individuals and where we are going. Life remains for the believer precarious and fragile, but it's no longer a life which is nasty, brutish and short, as the philosopher Thomas Hobbes described it. It is very short, but it's a life also of beauty, of glory and of enjoyment. Indeed, our Lord showed just how much he enjoyed life by the amount of time he spent with people, eating and drinking, just relaxing with them, and in those moments leading them further in their journey of faith. And the Lord also would grasp this life to the full by withdrawing from it every so often. Again, in Luke's Gospel, time and again, he takes time out to spend time in prayer. Prayer is, if you want, time wasted, but time wasted with God. A time in which we re-energize ourselves, restore our batteries in order that we continue our journey. And in Luke's Gospel again, our Lord is constantly telling the disciples and those who would follow him that to follow him is to take up the cross each day. And it's carrying the cross. Yes, it's carrying the burdens of life, the things that happen to us. It's to carry the hardships, the disappointments, the pain and the suffering. But the Lord, in his life and then his death and resurrection, shows us that carrying of the burden of the cross is at the same time a joyful experience. It gives us meaning and purpose and direction. It fills our life with a fullness which comes only from God alone. We can look at things, events that are happening just now in our own world, like the massacre in New Zealand, like the great cyclone that has hit so many parts of the developing world, and wonder, where is God in all this? St. Paul will tell us that creation is in one great act of giving birth. In fact, we and the whole of creation are unfinished creatures in the process of being created. And as unfinished creatures, that means we will encounter difficulties, challenges, questions, and of course, suffering. And the point of all that is that we will grow as human beings, make a further progress in our life of faith, have a life which is full of beauty and joy and happiness, and a life which allows us to go forward, knowing that we make this journey not alone, but with the Lord who walks with us, this Lord who's in this great journey with us, a journey which allows us, even here and now, to grasp life in all its fullness and to have that foretaste and touch of heaven itself.